Alright, how's it going, guys? It's been a minute, I guess you could say. It's actually been quite a large minute, more like an hour probably. Today what I wanted to do is actually bring you a No Man's Sky video, believe it or not. But today, instead of making a traditional No Man's Sky video with a script, with consistent gameplay and jump cuts and all of that bollocks, instead of that, what I want to do is a lot more of a informal video, a lot less editing, a lot less scripting. Just talking about my current thoughts about No Man's Sky. I feel like this would be a nice video to kind of ease back into making No Man's Sky content as such. Where's my Word document gone? Yeah, so as I said, essentially what I want to do is just talk about No Man's Sky as a whole. I want to talk about where it is at the moment, the future of the game, and really just give an honest opinion. I'm not trying to please anyone. I'm not trying to appeal to any specific part of the community or part of video games or anything like that in general. Really, this is coming straight from me and only me. Now, before we get into it, I also do want to plug my Patreon, which will be in the description of the video. Because I am now a student, I'm very fucking poor, and the money does help a load more than it would have done before, because now I actually need money, otherwise I'm gonna starve. But yeah, Patreon is really fucking helpful. If you guys do want to donate, there is a link in the description, and as well there is also a link to my Discord server, which is in the description of the video as well. Please do check both of them out and give it some consideration, because as always it does help Papa MZK out. Thank you so much. Alright, so No Man's Sky. Now, I haven't been making videos on No Man's Sky really for about, God knows, probably about a month, I would say. My reasoning for this is mainly because I wanted to branch out and try some alternative content. Try some content which is a lot less scripted, more humorous, and more accustomed to kind of what I'm like as a person. I don't know if anyone has realised, but when I do No Man's Sky videos, the way that I talk, the way that I present myself is entirely different to even how I'm talking at the moment, but as well the other videos like the Club Penguin ones and things like that. I do of course put on a formal persona of some sorts for No Man's Sky videos, because that is what is needed when we're talking about updates and stuff like that. But I don't always want that. I want to just be myself sometimes, fuck around a bit and have a little bit of a laugh. And that's why I've been making alternative content that isn't No Man's Sky. However, that isn't the only reason why. The obvious other reason is that we haven't had an update since Beyond launched. Beyond came out in, what, July? I think it was. I can't even remember. But even though Beyond was supposed to be this big old update that was rather large and rivaling the size and complexity of Next, I think in a weird way it kind of lowered my excitement for No Man's Sky, and definitely made me play it less than I had played with previous updates, but I will get onto that in a second. The fact that we only just know now that there is indeed a new No Man's Sky update coming out, I believe this week, called the Synthesis update, is a little bit strange. It reminds me a lot of the older No Man's Sky days, you know, a bit of radio silence, bit of not knowing what is going on, and that's still very much a thing. The communication is still probably not an issue, but it's still something that can be improved. However, it is a much smaller one, and it's obviously not as bad as it was years ago. The Synthesis update is something which I'm probably going to make a whole other video about, you know, breaking it down, speculating, things like that. But I am excited for it as much as I would be for any No Man's Sky content update. It allows me to make videos on it. It allows me to have a reason to play No Man's Sky as well. And of course, it's important to keep your expectations in check. From what I can gather, it's mostly going to be a quality of life update, because I believe Sean said that they're working on future updates, and then some of it's ready already, so they're just going to add it into the game. Not too sure. Hopefully this is how the game's playing it down, and it's actually more than just quality of life, because I think that would be kind of boring if that was an update. Not trying to sound ungrateful here, but that is why you keep your expectations as low as possible, because if it does just turn out to be some sort of update which fixes a couple things and makes things a little bit easier, then we're not going to be thinking, oh, Hello Games bullshitted, we've been deceived, whatever. As I said, there will be a full video on the synthesis update at some point this week, not entirely sure when, but my main point here is that the communication does still bother me. I know for a lot of people in the community, Beyond was not the update that they wanted, and the lack of the communication after Beyond in terms of, you know, what is the next update? When is it coming? Is there a next update? Kind of added to that frustration. And I do definitely feel like the community of No Man's Sky at the moment is probably, I wouldn't say the worst because that's the wrong adjective, but the most disconnected, I would say. 100%, 100%, 200%, 300%, fuck it, 500% sure. And that does lead me on to talk a little bit about Beyond, because I have put my thoughts out about Beyond. I think it's very evident that I wasn't a big fan of the update, but when we're looking at No Man's Sky as a big general picture, and when we're thinking about it in the modern day especially, it's of course important to talk about it. Beyond was the prime example of us getting way too ahead of ourselves and expecting way too fucking much. Now, I think this was in part due to the community, of course, but then a lot of it I do think was down to Hello Games. This is because Hello Games left the third component of Beyond a mystery for such a long time, which created a lot of speculation, a lot of overthinking. There was this perception that Beyond was essentially next, but a bigger update, a more complex update, etc, etc. We knew that VR was coming, we knew that there were other things coming as well, but the third component for a lot of people was quite deceiving, myself included. I was expecting component 3 to be something absolutely fucking huge and mind-blowing, because Hello Games wouldn't have just left it as a secret had it been something not very interesting. But that is exactly what they did. They purposely made it a secret, and they definitely knew that what they were doing was building up a lot of hype and a lot of unrealistic expectations. And when it came out that the third component really was just polish, I think a lot of people were like, what? Again, not to sound ungrateful or anything, but Hello Games didn't really handle that in the best way, and I think that they should have probably learned from that, even though I'm surprised that this happened in the first place, because I would have thought they would have predicted that, like how it did with launch day No Man's Sky, you know, the same kind of fiasco with building up unrealistic expectations. Beyond wasn't necessarily a bad update, I just think it was promoted in the worst way possible. It was built up to be something so huge and impressive, and in reality, the only major thing that we got was obviously virtual reality, but for people that wanted a single player No Man's Sky experience, you know, what the game was built for, there was fuck all, to be honest with you. Beyond definitely isn't the worst update going, because I don't think you can label the game or label the updates as being worse or bad or shit or whatever, because they're free updates. But for me, it was 100% a disappointing update, and I'm not afraid to admit that. It broke a lot of things for what felt like an extremely long time, way longer than Next, at least it felt like to me. And mostly the additions which were added just don't really make that much of a difference. The whole anomaly thing with, you know, the No Man's Sky online and this interconnected multiplayer experience just wasn't really that good. It was essentially the multiplayer which we had before, but slightly refined to ensure there's more player models. That's kind of it. Sean bigged up No Man's Sky Online like it was fucking World of Warcraft or something like that, and yes, they explicitly said it's not an MMO, but there was a lot of attention on No Man's Sky Online. Hell, even the name No Man's Sky Online, suggesting it is something which is almost a separate entity to regular No Man's Sky, was again a major factor leading to Beyond just feeling a bit disappointing, a bit underbaked. It almost felt like to me that they had overpromised, and perhaps a lot of stuff which they were hoping to get in, they couldn't, and a lot of that is going to end up in this update. That's my idea, and I think that's why the synthesis update is going to be coming out, because it's a lot of content from Beyond which has been finished, and they're going to roll out as almost like a part 2 to Beyond, but we'll get to that in another video. I need money, so like this isn't going in one video. So stepping away from Beyond and stepping away from hype and updates and Hello Games and all that shit, No Man's Sky itself, No Man's Sky as a game. What do I think of No Man's Sky as a game in its current form? Well, No Man's Sky has always been a game which I can't play for long periods of time, and even in the present day with all of the updates, it is still a game which I can't really play for long periods of time. I'm way too aware of the similarities on planets, you know, the samey terrain, that kind of lack of a purpose. Why am I doing this? What's the reason for doing it? It does kind of put me off, and a lot of times I do play No Man's Sky, I can't help but think about what could be, and it is kind of frustrating, especially considering that there are a lot of new games coming out and that are already out which are very, very fucking good, and I've been playing them quite a lot. No Man's Sky really isn't a game which I'm playing every day. Hell, I don't even know the last time I played it. Should we have a look? I last played it on the 19th of November, which wasn't really that bad, but it was to get footage for the cinematic, which YouTube blocked, so fuck you. I haven't actually just sat down and played No Man's Sky casually for a good few months, and that is mainly because I never find myself wanting to play No Man's Sky. I used to sometimes wake up and be like, today I just want to play No Man's Sky. And I can say that I haven't had that in probably about 4-5 months. I think that general or genuine interest to play No Man's Sky I have not had in quite a while. The only time I really end up playing No Man's Sky is when I'm high. If I smoke a joint, I will quite often play a bit of it and just kind of walk around and stare at stuff, and that's pretty fucking cool. But the fact that I can't play No Man's Sky sober is sort of a bad thing, I guess. Either way, the game, and specifically Beyond, did not do enough for me to warrant me playing it constantly. But No Man's Sky has always been a game which is like that for me. I think it is a game in general which you can't just sit down and play for prolonged periods of time like other games. There is definitely work that needs doing, but I still find myself a little bit upset and more just frustrated that I can't play what No Man's Sky will be on, you know, the next generation or in next year or something like that. However, that is not to say that I'm not enjoying No Man's Sky. The few times I've played it, I have noticed things which I have never noticed before. Recently, I've been really looking into the terrain of some planets. I've been really looking into the terrain of planets, you know, noticing formations which I haven't seen in quite a while. So there is still new things which I'm finding, and I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter as well where people have found things which they have never seen, I've never seen, and it's nice to see that even though No Man's Sky has been out for a good many years now, people are still finding cool new stuff. And also, when No Man's Sky is the game which you want to play, you know, when you're really, really in the mood for it, then it is just perfect. It achieves its one goal extremely well. No Man's Sky kind of sets out to achieve one purpose, and that's the fact that you want to explore. You want to feel like you can traverse an infinite universe and kind of be like a lone, wandering, you know, lost soul, if you want to get that deep. What I'm trying to get at here is that there's a very specific mood for No Man's Sky. There's a intense kind of attraction to it if you're in a certain mindset because of something you've watched or because of a dream you've had or something like that. Occasionally I will be incredibly in the mood for playing No Man's Sky, and no other game will satisfy that urge apart from No Man's Sky. It means that I'm only really playing it when I want to play it, and I'm not just playing it for the sake of it. But what this does mean is that I find it quite hard to review No Man's Sky as such, or to rate it, because I go through periods of time of really liking it, and then periods of time of barely playing it. But that happens with Team Fortress 2, that happened with Rocket League. I'm suddenly playing it again now for some reason, and I'm suddenly starting to make videos on it as well. Little hint is coming. So No Man's Sky is a weird one. It's an anomaly in the video game market, but it is still No Man's Sky, and it's still a game which I value extremely highly, and I've still got Sean's fucking signature and the actual No Man's Sky hoodie on as well, so I find it very difficult to chat shit about it. The Synthesis update is something I am looking forward to. I'm intrigued to see what Hello Games are going to do. I am going to be making a speculation video. Probably not a massive one, just a smaller one, looking into what I believe will be in the update and all of the other stuff that usually comes with it. So yeah, that is my current day thoughts on No Man's Sky. I hope that was interesting. I hope this was a worthy video to come back with. And now that I've got a functioning mouse, I can finally edit and bring out some more content because I'm poor and AdSense isn't paying me. So yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then please do feel free to leave a like on it. And if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is SkintBoot, signing out.